Hi there, just an update to the Australian contribution to the human rights impact of unconventional gas tribunal being held this year in May 14 to 18. Well, the deadline is very fast approaching. We've extended the deadline from the 18th of February to the 28th of February. This is so we have time to give the prosecution time to review the evidence that we provide from our website and respond if necessary. Don't worry, it is possible for you to provide your previous testimony to some other submissions as your testimony to this tribunal. In fact, that, I believe, provides more power to the fact that this fight has longevity in history. Ultimately, also, I think that any previous submission that's been made is at heart a human rights submission anyway. Don't include an introductory paragraph saying who you are and how you feel this submission provides evidence of human rights impacts. Let's have a look at our submissions to date. First of all, in the health session, Dr. Wayne Somerville has provided some extraordinary testimony, including a letter that he sent to the Chief Scientists of Australia, refuting their position that there's no data of impacts of unconventional gas mining. Dr. Marion Lloyd-Smith provided moving video testimony, but also very detailed written testimony outlining the human rights impacts of particularly health of the unconventional gas industry. Dr. Geraldine McCarran has provided extraordinary testimony, including a video and her paper, most recent paper, into the impact on health and human rights. Louise Somerville has provided moving testimony of how she has personally experienced people's ill health in the gas fields, along with another personal powerful testimony of experiencing personal ill health in the gas fields. In the infrastructure section, we have testimony from a retired firefighter, and also testimony taken from the air, which was very, very powerful testimony, indicating just the extraordinary footprint of this industry has with its infrastructure. In the climate change section, we have gotten the most contributions, and Tim Forsey outlines the impacts of methane emissions on climate change, and David Paul from Ethical Ecology provides a very unique perspective on the ecological impact of this industry. Joe Hill's testimony outlines how he personally experienced the potential contamination from this industry and how it was handled. And Dr. John Stanley provides an outline of the impact of this industry on soils and the importance of maintaining soil health. Under government subsidies, we discuss the lack of participation that we as people have in the decisions that our government is making and the way the government subsidises the fossil fuels in the pursuit of profits. A very, very moving testimony from Daniel Tapp outlining the fight in the Northern Territory and its impact on its people. A company who's provided advocacy for 30 landholders over the past few years provides their experience in providing support to individuals and the lack of support by the government for the individuals in trying to navigate their way through these supposed coexistence. And a very good example of how difficult it is to deal with the government, in particular using one specific incident. Personal testimony about the impact of this industry as far as the supposed coexistence and the difficulties there is in explaining to the government the people's fears and the people's concerns and the lack of implementation of the precautionary principle, as well as specific personal testimony regarding the impact of underground coal gasification. And finally, in the cultural and social aspects, we've had a lot of excellent testimony here particularly from Reverend Graham Slaughter, giving a very specific personal perspective on the effect this has on the people. Personal testimony by the Jane family as to the impact of this industry on their water. Kylie has demonstrated how this industry has impacted greatly her entire family. John Jenkins' personal testimony alludes particularly to the human rights that require particular protection of people who are vulnerable, and John Jenkins' family is particularly able to verbalise how this has particularly affected their particularly vulnerable family. There's important testimony from Brian Monk. He and his family have gone to a lot of trouble to personally document the impacts of this industry that don't often find the headlines and the public eye. As another personal written testimony as to the devastating impacts that this industry has had on another particular family. Pam Bender has provided her testimony that she and George has provided to, very importantly, the Unconventional Gas Tribunal, the Unconventional Gas Inquiry, including an extract from the Hansard that gives very moving testimony for George Bender. Veronica Laffey is a mother and a farmer, and an organic farmer. She describes the lengths that they've had to go to try to have the government understand what this industry risks for them and their family. And Karen Orty provides testimony regarding the impact of this industry on the township and the social aspects. Helen Banks provides testimony regarding her fears of the government's lack of support of people's fears and concerns. Jo Evans provides testimony regarding a very unique perspective on the effect that fighting against this industry has on people who are described as the protectors. And Marion Whitecross provides very direct testimony as to very succinctly the impact this industry has had on her family's future. So ultimately, we've had some excellent testimony provided, incredibly powerful testimony. But it's not enough. It would be an absolute tragedy for us to go to this, for the International Tribunal to be held and for Australia's contribution to be limited. Please, people, consider providing your testimony to this tribunal. It's pretty simple. It's very easy. Just go to the registration page on our website and fill in the details. It's a very easy form that does half the work for you. Here it's just as simple as uploading your previous testimony if that's important. That's what you choose, and you can then have provided your voice to this tribunal. Thanks very much for your listening today, and hope to hear from you soon.